Parasha Sarah, Tafshin Peivav. We're going to speak about the side of Sarah Imenu, who she was, what she represents up to today for Bnei Israel. Let's go in the Psukim directly. Vayihyu Chaye Sarah. This was the life of Sarah. Maybe first you want to tell us that she passed away. Why do you start the Parasha Vayihyu Chaye Sarah? And then everyone knows the question. Mea Shana, Ve'esrim Shana, Ve'sheva Shanim, broken down. Shenei Chaye Sarah, and repeats again. And there's all kind of tirutzim in what this pasuk means, but I'm going to go deep in order to show that everything from the beginning of the pasuk makes sense in one sentence. Vatama Sarah beKiryat Arba. I'm not going to reach there. But there's just to show that the complication. Just before, at the end of Parashat Vayera, Avraham settled down in Be'er Sheva, which is very far. And Sarah passes away in Hebron, right where the Marasa Machpelah is. How did she end up there? And not only this, he calls it Kiryat Arba. In case you thought Waze didn't exist, Waze existed before. Kiryat Arba, Hebron, Eretz Canaan. We know where Hebron is. Vayavo Avraham, and Avraham came, so from Be'er Sheva, when he heard that. How did he find out? Nobody knows. Lispoid le Sarah velivkoisa. In order to say a hesped on Sarah and to cry over her. Wouldn't it be better to have said afterward, I don't care about the Vayavoy, that Avraham was maspid, he did a hesped, and he cried. Because here the pasuk is going to stop there. I mean, he came to do that. But did he do it? I know it seems to be a light question, but not at all. If the pasuk says only lispoid le Sarah velivkoisa, means that was the purpose of his coming. Maybe for others to say hesped, but not him. In order to understand what's happening here, we have to go back in history because there's a huge, huge, huge side. It says in the pasuk in Parshas Lech Lecha, Vayhi, a tragedy, Kevoi Avram Mitzrayma, when Avram was coming to Mitzrayim. Didn't say he went, Kevoi, Lashon Bia, coming. Interesting. Vayiru HaMitzrim. And the Mitzrim, all the Mitzrim, like what? They were gathered, all of them, by the border where they were checking Avraham passports. Vayiru HaMitzrim es ha'isha. The woman? Now you call me Sarah Imenu the woman? Couldn't you say Vayhi kevoy in plural? Mitzrayim. You didn't tell me, you didn't have to mention Avram. We know we're talking about Avram and Sarah. You should have said in plural, Vayhi kevoyam. No, Sarah's gone. Now there's only Ha'isha, the woman. Ki yafa hi me'od, that she was very pretty. Okay, now let's go relearn the pasuk. The pasuk doesn't tell me he went to Mitzrayim. He went Mitzrayma. Mitzrayma equals 385 equals Shechinah. What is the Shechinah coming to do here? Vayiru ha-Mitzrim, we ask the question, were all Mitzrayim gathered at the point of entry? Equals 385 equals Shechinah, twice repeated in the same pasuk. Now here, the only time we find this term, ha-isha, is by Chava. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu refers to Chava, ha-isha. Adam says, ha-isha shenosata imadi, the woman. The Nachash talks to the woman. Ha-isha is only Chava. What is she coming to do here? And on top of this, Ki yafa hi me'od, what is a pasuk? It's a beauty contest now here. You have to tell me Ki yafa hi me'od. This equals to 186 equals to Yud times Yud. Hey times Hey. Vav times Vav. Hey times Hey. Wow. The Oyer of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and clashes, when we always say, when there's a multiplication, it means that we're talking about the Oyer that comes out of the clashing of the letters amongst themselves. What Oyer? What do we have here? The Zohar explains that Avraham took Sarah and put her in a box. Again, a teva is the Shechinah. What did he do? And the Midrash recounts that they said, what do you have in the box? I said, whatever you want me to pay, I'll pay. Oh, maybe you have wheat. I'll pay you whatever the fee is for wheat. Let's say if he's agreeing so fast, maybe he has something better. Maybe you have papers. I'll pay you on papers. Maybe you have silver. I'll pay you on silver. Maybe you have gold. I'll pay you on gold. No. Let's say something is cooking. So what did they do? They opened the box. And when they opened the box, they saw a light like the light of the sun. And this light extended in all Eretz Mitzrayim. Vayiru ha-Mitzrim. All Mitzrayim were able to testify of the beauty because of the light that they've seen wherever they are in their land. So the question is now, after that, it says, Vayiru oisa sare paro. The ministers of Pharaoh saw her, but already it says the Mitzrim in general. So sare paroi are included in the Mitzrim. They all seen that light. This light engulfed Eretz Mitzrayim. So why do we have to repeat afterwards, says the Zohar, that the ministers of Pharaoh saw that? Says a tremendous chiddush here, the Zohar HaKodesh. They could not understand. When they took Sarah out of the box and they saw this light on her face, but they saw there was another light coming out of the box. And this, at the beginning, they thought it was Sarah shining so much that she was the source of the light. But when she came out, she was lighting up all Mitzrayim, but there was also another light inside. And this is when they didn't understand. They say, we can't touch her. We have to go to Paroi. And they mention her beauty. Okay, that's the pshat of the Zohar Kodesh. So why do you, Zohar, why did they call it Ha'isha? We're not going to call Sarah again Ha'isha. So why there, Davka, we're going to call her Ha'isha? And why is he coming to include when he says Es Ha'isha? Es always comes to include something. So what is he coming to include? Oh, you want to tell me because she was not alone, she had a light upon her. Very good. Very good. But then he still haven't answered me the union that we change the language in the pasuk and we call her Ha'isha instead of calling her Sarah. But what's very surprising is no one, I mean, this explanation won't answer the story that took place there. The Midrash Tanchuma brings down that prior to putting Sarah in the box, Avraham told her, you know, there's a lot of, they don't have any morals, the Egyptians. There's a lot of znus. And therefore, please go into the box and I'm going to lock it. Because I'm scared on myself. Because if they see you, they're going to want to kill me. So please say you my sister. Like this, leman itavli ba'avurech. Like this, they will benefit me. Avraham Avinu, the Isha Chesed, is taking advantage of his wife. He's putting his wife in a danger of death. You're basically going to Mitzrayim. In a place where when they're going to see a woman like this, Avraham Avinu, you can enter, but the exit, probably not. You're not going to be able to leave Mitzrayim. So how did you come in there the first place? Says the Malbim, even more. Avraham Avinu, when he told her, say that you're my sister, meaning that you have no father and all the rights, like by Lavan and Rivka, all the rights go to the brother. And in order for him to marry her, they have to benefit with him. That was the kavana of Avraham Avinu. If we know the first halacha, this wouldn't pass the test. This would be a tremendous avla to put someone in sakanas nefashos. First of all, it's also to put someone in sakanas nefashos based on what? Because if you're reading the pshat of the pasuk, it means, Avraham, you're already a rich man. You are by nature taking your wealth and spread it around. Now all of a sudden you become a taker. You want people to give you money. What happened in you that you've changed completely? This whole Inyan, and actually Rabbeinu Bachye learns that it was a big chet from Avraham Avinu, and because of this, his children had to go in Mitzrayim for 430 years. In other words, the whole Galus Mitzrayim, the Gzera came because of Avram's sin, and we have to pay for it. There's a klal in the Torah. There's a pasuk in Yirmiyah that says, fathers are going to eat sour fruits, and the teeth of the children are going to grind. Is that justice? Is that midas adin? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is el emuna ve'ein aver. A true justice here. True justice. Is that true justice? Avraham Avinu is eating a sour fruit, and we're going to have to suffer for 430 years in Mitzrayim. And by the way, something doesn't match. Because Avraham Avinu was already informed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that his children in Bris Beis Abesarim, way before that 5 years before that his children are going to be enslaved in Mitzrayim. That's part of the deal. In order to correct the 4 generations, Dor Enosh, Dor Amabul, Dor Aflaga, and Stoim. So, what kind of midah keneged midah we have here? In contrary, we lack din. It's impossible. Now I want to come with the logic. Because Avraham and Sarah are Nevi'im, you want to tell me they didn't have that logic? When it happened to Yaakov Avinu that there was a famine in Eretz Israel, first of all, he was not touched by the famine himself. He just didn't want he didn't want others to realize that his fields are still producing normally. Lamat Yisrael. That's why he told his children, pretend to go like everyone else. That's why they didn't have a specific time to go. It's whenever they wanted. Avraham Avinu, you have bitachon, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to get you back out of Mitzrayim, but you have no bitachon. Hashem told you to go to Eretz Canaan. When you arrive there, he says, that's the land I'm giving you. Oh, that day started a famine. Fine. First of all, do you think he's going to touch you? You're a tzaddik. Sorry, Imenu is a tzaddikis. Number 3, if you think there's food in Mitzrayim, send Eliezer. Who said you had to take Sarah? What gave you the right to go to take Sarah down there? If you have bitachon in Hashem, have bitachon that is going to feed you anywhere, even if there's a famine. And number 4, you're so rich that you can afford to buy even at a high price food. You're not going to die from hunger. So what was the cheshbon of Avraham Avinu? We see now that it cannot be. Pshat doesn't work here. Doesn't work. You can't explain me he decided because of the wrath to go to Mitzrayim. Makes no sense. We destroyed that. We need to go behind the scene and see what's cooking there. So, though I want to point out that not only Rabbeinu Bachye thinks like this, even the Zohar HaKodesh brings down that the suffering of the Yidden in Mitzrayim was because of the decision of Avraham Avinu to go down there and endanger his wife. He had no right. Scratching my head. you think that's so obvious, and we got to take the words at face value, it says in the pasuk, "Vayishmor mishmarti," learns the Tanchuma in Parshas Lech Lecha. Avraham was mekayim the whole Torah. Oh, really? What about this? They're blaming endangering Sarah, which is keneged kol haTorah kula. Someone who's sakanos nefashes, there's no Shabbos, there's no mitzvahs, there's nothing. V'chai bahem, you have to leave. You only do the mitzvahs if you can leave. If chaz v'shalom, someone is in danger, even on Shabbos, we do what we have to do to save him. There's nothing bigger than a nefesh Yisrael in the whole Torah. So how come Avraham Avinu, you that kept supposedly the whole Torah, how can you endanger your wife, which is keneged kol haTorah kula? In order to understand, because obviously now you are assured that there's something else a lot deeper. And in order to really grasp it, let's go to the Zohar Chadash in Parashat Yisro, who says something unbelievable. Why is the reason that Avraham went down to Mitzrayim? He didn't say exactly that's the reason, but from his words, we can see, we understand the cheshbon of Avraham Avinu. Adam and Chava were chayte. They ate from the Eitz Hadas. They disregarded the only tzivui that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them. He gave them one mitzvah. The mitzvah of not eating from that fruit, from the Eitz Hadas. However, they ate from the Eitz Hadas. They didn't keep that mitzvah. They had to come back in Gilgul. Says the Zohar, they came back in Gilgul, Adam in Avraham, Chava in Sarah. Isha is Chava, and there was another light inside the box. Okay. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu purified Avraham like you purify silver, because naturally inside the silver there is lead. And in order to purify, you have to put it in the fire at very high degrees and for a while, and the lead melts first and separates from the silver, so the remaining piece of silver is pure. And therefore, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was purifying Avraham Avinu, came out from him Yishmael. Yishmael is all the dirt that the Nachash put in Chava. He carries a lot on his shoulders. Yes. The Chamor of Yishmael is, the Zohar says, is the Zuhama, is the I don't have a better word than dirt. Someone has a better one, can suggest it. That he
impurity.
And at that point, Avraham Avinu
Zuhama is filth.
Pure. Let's back
Zuhama
up.
is filth.
Huh?
Zuhama is filth.
Filth. Yeah, thank you. So the filth that the Nachash put in Chava came out, separated from Avraham, and came out as Ishmael. Though, ask yourself a question. The main dish is missing here. What about Adam got impure by going with his wife. So he touched that Tehama, but he didn't have it in him. And he had to have, he went to Kivshanash, he went through so many nisyonos, Avraham Avinu, in order to reject from him this Zuhama that he touched. What about Chava? What about Sarah Imenu then? Because we all talk about Avraham. But Sarah Imenu got the filth in her. How did she get it out? That's the main question. Avraham Avinu thought about it. And he said, we have to reverse the situation. Since Paro was so filthy, says the Zohar in Pasha Shmois, says the Ariya Kodesh in Likutei Torah Shmois, Mamish, the Satan was mislabesh, was living inside him. So now Avraham saw an opportunity in this. And he said, okay, let's go down to Mitzrayim. And we have to entice the Nachash the same way he enticed Chava and he had her do what he wanted. This time Chava has to entice the Nachash and take back whatever Kedusha he has taken from her. In other words, in Paroi was entrapped the future of the Bnei Israel, as we're going to see. And Avraham saw that. And Sarah, that was a greater Neviah than Avraham Avinu, she was greater than Avraham Avinu. She foresaw that, and she agreed to go down to Mitzrayim. It's not that Avraham had to force her. Avraham just told her, this is the cheshbon. We are the Gilgul of Adam and Chava. We need to fix them. And after them, it's going to be Yitzchak and Rivka. And after them, it's going to be Yaakov and Rachel. Because Avraham and Sarah were the Gilgul of the Nefesh of Adam Arishon and Chava. Yitzchak and Rivka were the Gilgul of the Ruach of Adam and Chava, and Yaakov and Rachel were the Gilgul of the Neshama of Adam and Chava. So in order to be Mesakin, you got to start from the bottom up. And that's what and in the Nefesh is very close to the body. So in the Nefesh, there are two parts, a Nefesh which is spiritual, and a Nefesh which is connected to the body and has even more ideas of Taivas than the body himself, and tells the body to do this. So they decided to go. And when they saw, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that the Mitzrim, the Shechinah was with her. That's what he says, Kevoi Avram Mitzrayma. First, he went to the Shechinah if the Shechinah would agree. Because the one who took the biggest gam from the chet of Adam and Chava was the Shechinah. And the Shechinah agreed and followed them. So they were really three. They were Avram, Sarah, and the Shechinah. When they took out Sarah, what did Sarah do? For them, the Zohar says, any human being, as beautiful as it can be, through any generation, if you put him next to Chava, he looks like a monkey before a man. besides a man, besides a person. Every beauty is ugly compared to. She was so beautiful, Chava, that people could not even look at her. It was impossible to look at her. People would die looking at the beauty of Chava. Even the Nachash, when he came, could not look at Chava, could speak to her, but not look at her. So beautiful she was. And now when they saw Ha'isha, that was Chava, Sarah Imenu took out Chava from herself and her exactly like who? Like Esther. Vatilbash Esther Malchus. We already explained this passage. That if you take Esther in full, because it's Vatilbash Esther Malchus, Esther wore, you're missing the noun, and you're going to give me an adjective, Malchus. You should say cloth of Malchus, cloth, royal cloth. But you're missing the word cloth. No, she didn't wear cloth. She wore the Malchus on her, because the Malchus was always in Esther. Sarah and Esther are the two extremes of the Malchus. Sarah is in the Keser and Esther is at the end. That's why Sarah lived 127 years. That's why Esther became a queen on 127 nations. That's why by Sarah, it says the big number first, 100, then 20s, the dozens, then the singles, 127. By Esther, it says the opposite, 720, 100. Sarah was mashpia from the top down, while Esther was correcting from the bottom up. That's why she started with 7 in the Megillah, that 7 nations, 20 nations, 100 nations, 127 nations. And as we're going to see, even the Nes of Purim, Sarah Imenu did. Nes Chanukah, Sarah Imenu. The Nes of the Holocaust, Sarah Imenu. The Mashiach, Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu is going to encompass from the day she lived all the way till the end of time. That's how big her schus is. What has she done so great? We know Avraham back and forth, the Torah, the Kivshanaesh, the Akedah, the this, the that. Sarah Imenu, at the end of the day, if you look at Rashi, she heard about the Akedah and she died. She was not able to take this, that's her only son. So she doesn't seem as worthy as Avraham Avinu, right? So how did she reach a place where she's going to be the backbone of Am Yisrael from the day she was born till when Mashiach comes? I mean, the pasuk, we don't have anything about it. It doesn't say anything. Vayiyu chaye Sarah. Once she starts living, she's not going out anymore. She's there. She's there to stay. But she has seen what Bnei Israel are going to go through times, and she has been working on every Yeshua, for every door, for every tzara of the Bnei Israel. What has Sarah done? Okay. Now we know that the Gilgul of Chava and Adam. Now we know what Sarah did. Ha'isha, meaning exactly like Esther. She took the Malchus, because Esther in full, if you take only the inner letters, when you say Aleph, you count only the Lamed Pei, Samech, Mem Chaf, at Taf, Yud Vav, but the Esther, you don't count it. Reish, Yud Shin equals 496 equal Malchus. She inverted herself. Esther went inside, and the Malchus faced Achashverosh with the image of Esther. But Esther was not capable to confront Achashverosh at that time. It was the Malchus. What she did, Sarah Imeinu, she went in, and now, and that's what Avraham, that's the meaning of the Zohar. It says, I'm going to put you inside the box. Not the box, the physical box. I'm going to put you inside Chava, and Chava will do the tikkun. And Chava was even more beautiful than Sarah. But the body was Sarah. So she had to conduct the whole episode with Paro. When Paro saw her, he fell off his chair. He wanted to touch her. Midrash said, Malach came, and he had a robe in his hand, and she told him exactly this word, Hach, heat. And he gave him a heat to break all his bones. He was screaming of pain, Paro. Couldn't take it. So, because he was a stingy guy, he wants only what he wants. For him, there's no other thing that supersedes that in the world. So he understood, and he started sending presents to Avraham. So the pasuk is going to say, what presents did he send? Sainu Bakar. Okay, we remember the Parasha of Lavan, that Yaakov had to go take the sign from Lavan. Do you think Avraham Avinu needed more flocks and cattle? He didn't have enough. He had enough of everything. Sarah was asking to give Avraham the nitzoitzos that he swallowed. That's only reason he was able to sustain. I want to show you something. Do you want to say it, but you know what? I think I should. Interestingly, she was telling the Malach, Hach, heat. This equals to 25, you know, and it's the letters, inverted letters of Koi. And we know that it's the Shechinah Koi, why? First of all, we learned it many times because there's 5 Heys. Hey, Hey Yud, so that's a second Hey. Hey Aleph is a third Hey. Hey, 5 Hey. 5 times 5 is Koi. When is the Shechinah Koi Yamar Hashem? All through the Nevi'im. When is the Shechinah is called Koi? When all these Heys are together. They're all in one, they're going in one direction. And she inverted the Shechinah in order to punish Paro. And Paro could not take it. Oh, you want your life to stay here? Start regurgitating everything you took in the Satan. And he had to give Tzayin Ubakar. We know from Lavan what did he have in the Tzayin Lavan? There was the Neshamas of the Bnei Israel. Here also you had the Gilgul of all the Nitzoitzos, all the Neshamas that fell down there from the 4 Doiros. And that's what the pasuk says, Ul Avram heitiv ba'avura. And because of Avram, and because of Sarah, Avram had all good. What do you mean they had all good? He was able to receive all the nitzoitzois and I'm going to prove it. I'm not going to tell you something that I'm not going to prove, because this is a big explanation. But so Sarah was doing the work, and Avraham, meaning that even the 10 nisyonos of Avraham were not enough in order to complete the tikkun of Adam Arishai. And only because of Sarah, she went to face the two snakes. 2 times this is going to happen to Sarah. With Paroi, which is the female snake, the worst, and Avimelech, which was the male snake. Twice she's going to leave it. And first, Avraham is going to be able to be Mesaken Adam, and then she will be Mesaken Chava. Because if you look at the pasuk, look at this pasuk that comes afterward. Vayhi loy tzoin uvakar. The pasuk seems to be describing that Avraham was a rich guy and he had tzoin uvakar. It doesn't say that Paro gave him. And the pshat is, Paro gave him first tzoin uvakar because he thought, okay, she's not going to be so tough. I'm going to give tzoin uvakar to Paro, to Avram, and he's going to tell me his sister can marry me. Who wouldn't want for a sister to become a queen of Egypt? Everybody would have wanted that. But she was so beautiful, he could not contain himself. Paro, he was getting crazy. Tzoin uvakar, she refused. They don't do any work. You need to work for them, for these guys. All you're getting, tzoin, is the meat. Bakar, maybe the milk too. Then he started sending v'chamoirim, the pashtus, because the order of the pasuk leads you to this. Chamoirim, they do work. Va'avadim ushvaches, even more valuable. But then, according to this logic, what is va'asoinois ugmalim? It doesn't follow the logic, the pasuk. So we have 2 questions on the pasuk. Vayhiloi is incorrect. It's an incorrect verb, and asoinois ugmalim is not in the right place according to our explanation in the pasuk. So why does it say Vayhiloi, and why does it say Paro gave him asoinois and gumalim at the end? Why? It's worth to mention that the Zohar says that Avraham had to go down to Mitzrayim for 2 reasons. First of all, for Sarah, which was the Bina, to teach the Malchus that at 2 times, this is how you will be hitting the Reshaim. You're going to turn your name and start hitting them hard. After Mitzrayim, when the Bnei Israel, it's going to come time to take them out of Mitzrayim, so by Yetzias Mitzrayim, and by Yetzia from the Geula Shleima of the Bnei Israel from the Shibud Malchuyos, at that point, they're going to give also Sarah hit Paro 10 times to show the Malchus that every time you want to finish with an enemy, you have to complete the number 10, hit 10 times, then they will be able to get out of Mitzrayim. You're going to hit 10 times the Goyim, then they're going to be able to free the Yidden from, and Mashiach can come. And that's the first reason. The second reason, the Zohar says, for Avraham, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him that the Bnei Israel are going to receive tremendous wealth. They're going to be able to take advantage of the wealth of the Mitzrayim. So to make a semen, he did that. If we take Vaihiloi, just to understand what's cooking behind it, because this is the wrong tense. So grammatically, it's wrong. Equals Bina. Just to tell you what I told you before, that all this Ba'avura is because of Sarah Imenu, what she was doing there. She was not falling for Paroi and all the promises and all Chatzi Amalchus, the whole Malchus. I'm going to prove you that Paro started giving not only the neshamas that he took back from Adam Arishon and Chava, he started giving even his own gods, his own beliefs, and even the Satan into the hand of Sarah. Sarah is the only person in the world that was able to fight all the Sitra Achra at once and not budge, not losing a hair, and win them under her feet. She was the only one capable of doing this, and she did it. If you take the word Sainu Bakar, I skipped a little part, but I'm going to explain it afterward. Equals 440, equals 449 equals Avraham, Adam, Kadma'a, as the Zohar called him. Adam Arishon, Adam Kadma. Exactly. So first, Sarah told Paroi what to return to give Avraham, because she's the Bina, and she told him, first, return all the nitzoitzes that you took from Adam Arishon. Then he was waiting a little bit. Okay, now I gave him something. Would you marry me? I mean, would you go with me? He gave her afterward Chamoirim. The Zohar HaKodesh explains that exactly like you have in the Kedusha, different Chochmah has a Keser, Bina has a Keser. So all the Keser of the Sitra Achra are called Chamoirim. It's in the Keser level. Chamoirim equals 298. Equal Chaya Ra. Does it remind you Yosef HaTzadik here? Paro, he used the Lashon Yaakov Avinu Chaya Ra'a Achalashu. Chaya Ra'a is the female, the Shifcha, the Rish'a, the Eshes Zenunim, the wife of the Sam, the Malach HaMaves. Yaakov Avinu foresaw, without knowing, he thought that his son has sinned with Shiktis. And she's called a Goya also. She's called Nidat, Meyad, Goya, Shamga. A few names. And this is why he calls her Chayara. Chayara refers, she is the Keser in every step, all the midas of the... even her, whatever she took, because she was in him, if whatever she took, he took out and returned from the Nefesh. of Adam Arishain and Chava, he returned. Now, it says after that, Avadim Ushvaches. This equals to 914. This equals to Nachash, Sitra Achara, which is the lily, some gematria, 480, 480, and the Eved. Always the Eved is the same way we have in the Gdusha, we have Abba, Ima, Arichanpin, things, what we call the faces of the Gdusha. The Eved is one of the faces of the Sitra Achra. So he was already ready, Paro at that point, to return to. That's why the Gemara says the Chamoirim at night. All these, if you start seeing from this, all these sin, then we call them Noyef. The Chamoir is known to be a Noyef. Whatever he finds, he needs to go with. It doesn't matter if it's his female or someone else female or whatever. It doesn't differentiate. He just does it. Avadim and Shvaches, the main midah, that's why a woman is not in the Chetznis, he's not allowed to be misyached with the Eved, because the Eved are not poniyuf. And so forth, and Shvaches also. And you start seeing that now finally we're coming to the Chet. But again, we asked, Va'asoinoi sugmalim, what do they represent? They equal to 980. They equal to 2 times Asoinois and Gemalim. If you look at the Midrash in Parshas Bereshis on the Chetz Etzadas, it says that the Psalm came down, he was riding a gomel. Because the snake used to be walking, but it had a long neck, so he was moving like this while advancing, and he looked like a gomel. He gave Sarah Imenu, and he gave Avraham Avinu, because he was a big mechashev paro, all the soidos of how to entrap them completely and take out anything you want out of them. And Paro himself did it. Once Paro, once Avraham, twice. That in order to squeeze everything they had taken from the Kedusha and returning it into the... And then Paro was not an idiot. He gave his daughter to Avram as a present. Hagar equals 208 equals Yitzchak. Hagar represents the power, the gvura of the Sitra Achra. While Yitzchak is the Gvura of the Kedusha. Pharaoh was willing to give it so easy, to give back all this so easily, because he thought that his daughter can get it back out. But little did he know that Avraham and Sarah will have Yitzchak. And because of Yitzchak, she's going to be kicked out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Shechinah was with them. Now you're going to ask me, why? Still, we don't understand. We didn't answer the question. Why? Because of this, they were working to repair the world. They were working in order to complete back a big chesed, Adam and Chava. Why would the Bnei Israel be punished by being enslaved by the Mitzrayim for 430 years? The Bris Kun HaSolam gives a huge vote on this. Huge. He was 12 years old. Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Mikaritz was 12 years old when he wanted to be Faher, to become a Dayan. But nobody wanted to everybody knew the Eloi, but nobody wanted to fire him. Because who wants to be a Dayan at 12 years old? When Reb Pinchas Mikaritz, who was Gadol HaDoyer at that time, he heard that, he says, I will fire him. At 12 years old, he got Yodin, he became a Dayan. After that, he became the Beis Din of Karetz. Nobody could so breed it. He said, let me introduce you the question. We start the Haggadah with Ha Lachma Anya, right? And we take the piece of matzah that we cut and we show it. This is the Lechem Oini. This is the bread of misery that we ate in Mitzrayim. But truly it makes no sense. That's the same piece of bread you're going to take afterward to show the Lechem of the Geula. That's the bread that when we rushed out of Mitzrayim, our bread didn't have time to rise, so we ate that matzah. So make up your mind. You cannot tell me two opposites and make me swallow that this is the pshat. It's impossible. Is it lechem oini or is it the lechem of the Geula? But it cannot be both. Now you will understand a very, very big yesod. We give a lot of names to a lot of things. But truly, it's completely wrong. It's not the name that defines what something is what we do with it that's going to define what it is. I'm going to explain it. Now, with the vote of the Bris Kun HaSolam, it's huge beyond huge. And we're going to understand even deeper the whole Indian. We're starting by saying Ha Lachma equals 85 equals Mila. Do you want to know why this bread had no bracha? Do you want to know? That's what the Maggid starts with. Do you want to know? It's because the Bnei Israel at that time were poigem in the Mila. And therefore, now they became a vessel from the other side in order to add on them also the chet of the previous generation, since they were the Gilgul of the previous generations. The Dora Mabul, the Dora Flaga, that were poigem and doing chataim, terrible chataim, since you do the same type of chet, so you're liable for them. The proof to this, yeah? Okay, fine. We know that in order to have toiv, good is by keeping the milah intact. And actually, the yesod is called toiv. If I do the yud-k, which is chachma and bina, are multiplied by toiv, equals 255, equals nahar. Nahar yoytze me'eden, and there's a river coming out of Eden. Okay, according to the pshat. Now let's talk from the bina. The yesod comes out. Lehashkois es hagan, and it gives. Who's the gan? Gan is the malchus. So the nahar is what provides whatever the bina sends to the malchus. Is the intermediary, the yesod. If you do 12 times toiv equals 204 equals tzaddik, another name of the yesod. And who's a true tzaddik? The one who keeps the yesod. Now we have 15 plus 12 equal 27. So let's go. 27 times toiv equals 459, right? 459 equal hachaisam. Again, the bris. All the midas, all what a person is in the signature. The signature of a person is how he behaves with his midah. And since they have sinned, the Gemara says this brings poverty. So the lechem became lechem oini. How is oini written? Ayin, nun, yud. I'll take it with what it says in the Agada. Anya equals 131 equals, they fell in there with this. And therefore, it told them now you carry the whole weight of the previous generation. And if we added, so now I'm going to add on my own. Because now when I started understanding, because he left out. So what did they eat in Mitzrayim? Lachma, Anya, Achlu equals 267 equals Merkava. What was the big chet they've done? Because they were poigem in the bris, and automatically they were poigem in the malchus. So the malchus left them. Like in the Beis Hamikdash. Why the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed? Because the malchus went out. It was 40 miles away. At the beginning, he was on Derech Hebron. And after that, he left. When there's no Shechinah there, automatically the other side knows that he can take advantage. And that's exactly what it is. That's what happens. Now, if we look a bit deeper in the words, di ochalu equals 71 equals yud ke vav ke in simple and in full. Yud, hey, vav, hey. Oh, by the way, there happen to be these names in the Yesod. Exactly the reason. The bread has nothing to do. The bread is always bread HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave. Our actions make it lechem oini, or they make it the lechem of Geula. It's our actions. Oh, I forgot to tell you something now. Now that we're going to finish the sentence, is Av Ha Sa No. When he's saying, because the previous generations have done the same thing, so automatically we carried, who is that? Our fathers. When in the first time our neshamas came, that we are the Gilgul of Av Ha Sana, 27 times 12 exactly. Now, if we take this, Diochalo, to check it under every stitch, Av Ha Sa No equals 530 equals Sitra Achra Tami. Avraham Avinu corrected it. But you return everything Avraham Avinu took out. And therefore, you're going to be in Mitzrayim. That's what the Zohar hints. Not that because he went down to Mitzrayim, he was punished to have the Bnei Yisrael, but the Zohar hints that everything you're going to do in Mitzrayim, your children are going to undo it. And because of this, they're going to have. So Avraham Avinu, there was truly no point going to Mitzrayim in order to be Mesaken, Adam and Chava, because your children are going to be undoing everything. And therefore, their actions will call for them being enslaved in Mitzrayim for 430 years. And if you want to know the power of Paroi, just in order to understand what Sarah Imenu went against, he's called Paroi Melech Mitzrayim. Equals 825. Equals Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, plus all the names of Hashem, but without the Malchus. Let me show you and I'll explain you. First, Yud, Hey, Vav. This is going to remind you of the Kavanas of the Lulav. Yud, Hey, Vav. Yud, Hey, Vav. Yud, Hey, Vav. Because they're spiritual, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They were working more in the Yesod, they were working more in that level. Paroi could counter the three of them and their powers, but not Sarah. So what's the secret of Sarah? Now we've been talking about her greatness, what she has achieved. When we say Vayiyu Chaye Sarah, this was the life of Sarah. This is in that life she completed her mission. How did she do it? Because she took the Shechinah and put her back in her place. When we said before, what are we missing here? We're missing, I'm going to write in another color for you to see. No, where is the color? We're missing hey. We're missing, uh-oh, I gotta go color. Here, hey. Here we're missing, I have to go to that bar. Hey, here we're missing, hey. She was able to complete, and when you take these, like this, completed, equals 232 equals Yehi Oyer. That's why she got the light. She returned the original light to its place. The Malchus. She returned the Yesod. If you put the Malchus, then the Yesod can stand. And in order to digest that, let me show you. We asked the question, why is it repeated at the end? Shenei Chaye Sarah. You already said at the beginning of the pasuk, Vayiyu Chaye Sarah. Come see what the pasuk is telling you. Shenei Chaye Sarah equals 893. Equals Yetzias Mitzrayim with the two words. Equals Nase Venishma with the two words. Equals, if you take Sarah in full, Shin, Reish, Hey, and there's 9 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 letters. Shin, Reish, Hey. 8 letters equals the same number. She met Yetzias Mitzrayim was on her back. When we say it every time there's a Bina, on Pesach night we in the Bina, Sarah Imenu. When in the Malchus, Rachel Imenu. But that's what is Sarah Imenu. Everything till the Oyer HaMashiach, I don't want to extend the shiur longer, but till if I see it right away where it is, and it goes deeper, you know, I don't have it handy here. I don't remember. So she will bring the light of the Mashiach to the world. This is Sarah Imenu. She started to exist and never ceased to exist. Her life is marking us every day in our lifetime. And that's why the pasuk starts, Vayiyu Chaye Sarah. Because the fact that she died, you can say it in the second pasuk. That's not important. It didn't stop the influx. It didn't stop the power of Sarah. And that's what the pasuk came here to teach us. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.
Those hays that were missing.
One second, my sound is down, so let me bring up the sound. Who's speaking here?
Tzvi.
Okay.
Those hays that were missing, is that the ches, the chech that she hit them with? that she hit Paro with?
Hach
Remember
is the letters Kaf Hey, 25.
Right, but all those Hays were the ones that were missing from the Malchus.
Correct. And they were not connected with, oh, it's still recording. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.